Good morning, and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11, and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at the pitching for today, the 24th of September. It is Wednesday. We do have a 9-game main slate this evening. Handful of games earlier, but we're really just going to focus on this main slate. That earlier slate has a bunch of weather to deal with, as you can see here. Yankee games on the main, but then Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Baltimore all have some weather issues popping up. So will definitely be a decent day to take a look at the forecast as the afternoon progresses. But I'm not too worried about the New York weather. Maybe a little bit. Probably want to get an update. I am a little interested in Max Fried in that spot. But aside from that, we should have a clear night. Wind blowing in again in Wrigley. We did see some runs scored yesterday. Cooler temperatures as well. It's going to be tough to not be interested in the pitching. However, one of the pitchers has really struggled over the last month or so. But a reminder that this is a first look at the pitching options on the slate. And I am looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you play in FanDuel, I would cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get the stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now let's just jump right in here. The first game is that aforementioned Yankees-White Sox game. White Sox basically going bullpen game. So we don't have to really debate that after Shane Smith looked decent yesterday. Max Fried taking on a White Sox team that doesn't necessarily strike out all that much, but he's coming off an elite performance against a Baltimore team that does struggle against left-handed pitching. The Yankees did clinch a playoff spot last night, but they are just, I want to say, a game out of the AL East. Yeah, they are 1 game out of the AL East. Pretty important spot. Chasing down that number 1 seed is definitely important. So I expect this start to be business as usual for Max Fried. Numbers at home have been phenomenal, really. Just 4 home runs allowed in that ballpark. It's 1 every 21 innings. Super strong. 7-2. Battling for his 19th win on the season. It's definitely fairly impressive. Like I mentioned, the White Sox aren't a huge strikeout team. They're kind of more annoying. Putting the ball in play a bit more, which definitely leads to some worries because the Yankees defense has struggled mightily. But with that said, I'm definitely using some Max Fried on this slate. Next game, Boston, Toronto. Both teams in the thick of things. Toronto ahead of the Yankees by a game. Boston, I believe, is holding on to the second wildcard slot by a game over Detroit, 2 games over Houston. So definitely a spot where the win is important to both teams. And Boston getting Garrett Crochet on the mound, definitely in the better spot. 2 starts against Toronto on the season, just under 20 DK points per start. 24 in the first one and 15 in the second one. Those starts haven't come since April against them. I know we don't really pick on Toronto a whole lot, but I'm going to be using Garrett Crochet. Big time spot. Massive K upside on the road so far this season. It's at 34 more Ks than innings pitched on the road. What is that? Roughly a 33% increase, so what is it, about 12 per 9 or so. So just a ton of upside. Obviously, we know the Blue Jays, not a huge K squad overall. So there is some worry there. But, without Bichette, I think the lineup is weak enough that I think Crochet becomes very viable. On the other side, Max Scherzer, I don't think he's viable, unfortunately. Couple of negative point performances and then 2 13-pointers over his last 4 starts. 4+ runs allowed in 4 out of his last 5 starts. Just doesn't feel like a Max Scherzer that we're used to. He is better when at home, but still 11 home runs allowed in 45 innings. Just one every 4 innings or so. Just not a great spot, so I'm going to pass on Scherzer, even though Toronto does need the win. So I would love to see Scherzer kind of turn back the hands of time a little bit. I just don't think it's going to happen. Mets, Cubs, colder weather, wind blowing in. Matthew Boyd, that's the problem. 13 or fewer fantasy points in 6 straight starts. 4+ runs allowed in 5 of those 6 straight starts. 120-point performance over his last 8. He just comes in terrible form. Mets are battling. Super important game for the Mets. I mean, it's probably an important game for the Cubs to a degree. No, not really. They're a game and a half up on the Padres, so it means more, obviously, to the Mets right now. I just can't get behind Boyd against the Mets the way that he has been throwing the baseball. On the other side, Jonah Tong, definitely somebody I'm utilizing. Now, there's a lot of volatility here. For how important the game is for the Mets, we can see them go to the bullpen quickly. The issue there is that Peterson was horrendous yesterday, so they did have to use the bullpen quite a bit. They're probably really hoping that Tong can give them, the 6 innings, maybe 5 innings. But 6 innings would probably be ideal. Love the upside. It's a volatile spot, but with the weather, wind blowing in, I think Jonah Tong is one of my favorite pitchers on this slate. Minnesota, Texas, Taj Bradley, maybe. Texas officially eliminated. Maybe they kind of coast in this spot, but Taj does not look very good. It's probably a decent spot where you can just pass on him. DeGrom on the other side now, I don't know what to do here. My gut is to pass on him. Last start of a season, eliminated from the postseason. Veteran, a lot of miles, a lot of injuries, etc. Do we just see him go 4 or 5 innings and hang it up? I really could see him just go 5 innings again and just call it a season. 80 pitches maybe. But there's always the threat that it's 3 to 4 innings. Right now I'm leaning towards the fade on DeGrom, but I really, would have loved to be able to play him if this game had meant something for Texas. Kansas City and the Angels. Kikuchi probably not going to be in play for me. It's really struggled. K upside hasn't been there. Walks have been. His numbers at home, definitely better than on the road, but Kansas City, they've been eliminated now, so it'd be interesting to see what kind of lineup they send out there. So pay attention to that, but as of right now, I'm planning on not playing Kikuchi. On the other side, Kolek, we missed out on an elite performance out of him last time out. But he does get K upside in this matchup. I don't expect him to approach 8 Ks again. He's just not that kind of a pitcher. But it is a pretty decent spot. So as the morning kind of went on and I just stared at the pitcher pool and thought through things, Kolek has really stood out that I might have to make sure I get exposure. A little bit of overweight exposure. Projecting at 3.5% roughly, which is pretty low. Tong, 5.5% from earlier. So a couple guys that I'm definitely going to be over the field on. And it won't take much to get there. Dodgers, D-backs. Game definitely matters. Dodgers trying to hold off the Padres. And potentially sneak into the number 2 seed, but I don't think it's going to happen. The D-backs 1 game behind the Mets for the last wildcard spot. Super important spot, especially for Arizona. Ryan Nelson, just not going to get there against the Dodgers. 2 appearances, look decent, just not much for Ks. Overall, not a ton of K upside. He has been really good at home, which is wild. He and Fott being so good at home this season have just blown my mind. But I just don't think I can get to Ryan Nelson. On the other side, Blake Snell, coming in great form, like elite form. 23 strikeouts over his last 13 innings, just 4 hits allowed, just 8 total base runners in those 13 innings, averaging over 39 fantasy points. Both those starts were at home. This one's on the road where he has struggled quite a bit. Minus the walk rate's pretty low. So he might just be getting hit a little harder. With that said, like, there's just so much upside with Blake Snell that I'm going to roll with him in this spot. I like the upside. I like how important the game is overall. So we're going to get there. Colorado, Seattle. The chalkiest pitcher on the slate, Luis Castillo. Bryce Miller was fine yesterday. Luis Castillo, somebody that I don't love playing. I've talked about it a lot throughout the season. But when I do play him, it is when he's at home, and that is where he's at this evening. Pretty massive difference between his home road splits. 6 fantasy points per game more when he's pitching at home. And that's even with the fact that he's only picked up 4 wins in 16 starts. Castillo, not a whole lot to say. I mean, Colorado strikes out the most in baseball, or second most. I haven't looked at the updated numbers. It's Colorado and the Angels by far. The chalkiest pitcher on the slate. As you see, DeGrom right now is projected pretty highly owned with a strong rating. So that is definitely a worrisome potential fade for me. I'm going to have to try to find some news as the day progresses before I make a final decision. But right now I'm leaning towards the fade on DeGrom. Tanner Gordon on the other side, 2 starts ago was phenomenal. We just saw the McCade Brown, I had to think for a second, put up a career-type performance last night against Seattle. Tanner Gordon has 9 strikeouts in 2 out of his last 4 starts. That's pretty interesting. I can't get there. I'm sorry. I would not be shocked if he has a pretty solid game. I just don't want to believe that Seattle's going to shit the bed in back-to-back matchups against a weak pitching staff. St. Louis, San Francisco, Sonny Gray's going to be in play. St. Louis 3.5 out of the last wildcard spot, so they're still technically in play for it. In this ballpark, I am going to utilize Sonny Gray. I don't love it, but I think it's a decent spot, and we could see San Francisco with a little weaker lineup. They aren't eliminated, but they're 4.5 games out with 4 teams ahead of them before they get to the final wildcard spot. And the Giants shut down Robbie Ray, who was originally slated to start today. Brubaker probably only going to be an abbreviated appearance, so I can't quite get there on Brubaker. If Robbie Ray would have been starting, I would have been all over him in the spot too. But for me, it's Sonny Gray, but I hope I don't have to be too... seeing him at 20% right now, I'm going to hope that percentage comes down as the day progresses, because I really don't want 25 to 30% Sonny Gray on the road. Last game on the slate, Houston and the A's. Luis Severino finishing up his season in Sacramento, where his numbers have been atrocious. Like, just absolutely atrocious. Not a huge home run allowed guy, which is wild, but Houston did not get to Springs yesterday in his home runs. Severino has made 3 starts against Houston. Been pretty decent, so he's viable. I just don't think I'm getting there. On the other side, Hunter Brown, I'm going to get there because the game definitely matters for Houston. They're a game out of the last wildcard spot. So Hunter Brown, 2 decent starts against the A's. They do strike out a lot, but obviously that ballpark is worrisome. With that said, like 9,200 for Hunter Brown, I'm in. I realize he has not been as dominant in the second half as he was the first half, but still, any given day he has the ability to be the highest scoring SP on the slate. So there's no way I'm going to pass on that. So there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I'll put a link in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And there will be a link to our merch store. Check it out, check out my design, etc. And as always, best of luck, everybody.